Okay, I am really ticked off right now. The things that I'm seeing make me very unhappy. I think democracy is lost. It's gone. We do not live in a democratic country anymore. And my reason for thinking about this is very straightforward. If you take a look at what's happening in Davos, Switzerland, where capitalism is now on trial, and not on trial by left-wing lunatics and socialists and communists, but by the heads of corporations, of governments, of states, of big business. You know, they're questioning if capitalism has failed and all these different things. This is in Davos, the same place that we have the Bank of Canada head, our finance minister, Stephen Harper, a keynote speaker. This is where these questions about capitalism are being asked. But the one question that's not being asked or brought up is that if capitalism is dead or dying or needs to be reformed, then so does democracy. Our democratic system has failed. Who does our democratic system represent? It doesn't matter if we're talking about Washington or Ottawa. Who does it represent? It represents the elite, the corporations, the lobbyists. They have the say. In Canada, we have a government, a Harper government, not a Canadian government, a Harper government elected by less than 38% of the vote. Less than 38% gives him a majority. Our opposition parties are inept. They're impotent to doing anything to prevent Harper from enacting anything that he wants to put forward to. If he wants to take Canada to another war, he's free to do so. If he wants to bring in new legislation, new laws, whatever, to curtail any kind of freedom, he's free to do so. If he is caught in some acts that are maybe questionable, he can prorogue any investigation, put it aside, set it aside, do whatever. He is a dictator. It has become a dictatorial system. A new world order has emerged right while Canadians have been drinking their beer and watching their all-star hockey games. Hey, hip hip hooray, good old Canada. We are about hockey, we are about beer, we're about the good things. While we sleep, the government has taken over. And it's not stopping. It's expanding its powers of control. This isn't about conspiracy theories. It's all the information is out there. As a matter of fact, the reason I'm ticked off is I saw a little snippet on the news about the Harper government wanting to instate this law that will allow them to spy through the internet, through back doors on anyone's internet site. Your computer will be spied upon by the government, by the police, without a warrant. Now imagine a democracy. I grew up in Canada and attended school, and I remember in the 80s, 70s, 80s, when there was talk about Soviet Union. You know, at that time, Soviet Union was communist, and there were people from the West who would be at embassies or who would be in hotels, and we'd hear about them being spied on by the KGB, these godless Russians. You know, we were indoctrinated to think that it's only the communists who would spy upon their own people, upon foreigners, and that, you know, that's as opposite of democratic freedoms as we can have. I believed in it. I still believe in it, that we should not be spying on our own people. But things have changed. 9/11 came along, and not only the United States, but the rest of the world, suddenly the free people gave up all their rights. Yes, search me at the airport, search me wherever, check my home, check my mail, check my bank account, whatever. If I have nothing to hide, I'm not going to object to it. That is not what democracy and freedom are about. That is not what it should be, that if I got nothing to hide, you can search through everything. Because I tell you, we can search through the papers of corporations, of banks and stuff like that. They have a right to privacy. It's only people that don't. And this is expanding. And like I said, what I heard on the news is that the government wants to be able to go into people's computers. And you know who they're going to be going after? Agitators. People that are anti-Harper, anti-government, maybe anti-pipeline, anti-oil, environmentalists. They're going to be all on these watch lists, these checklists, because they are enemies of the state. And you know, you're going to start looking for boogeymen under your bed and everywhere else, and soon no one's going to have freedom and rights. It's already been eroded. 2010, I should say, we had the Olympics in Vancouver. Do you know that the RCMP came around to people's homes who had written on the internet or posted things on the internet against the Olympics? They had done nothing wrong. They just posted feelings anti-Olympic, and the police came around to check up on them, check up at their work site, at their families, do background checks, find out who they were. Because, we got to keep an eye on these agitators. Roll ahead to 2011. The conservative elections, and the Conservative Party is having these rallies. 2 students, female students, arrive at one of the rallies and are thrown out. Why? Because their picture had appeared with the head of another political party head on Facebook. Who's watching this, and why are they watching it? And is that what democracy and freedom has come to represent? And Harper wouldn't backtrack or apologize for that for days and days, feeling it was right. I mean, man, if you can't have that. You just can't have that. I worry even for myself, because I make videos about politics. I make videos about environment, not only environment or politics in Canada, but the United States, or talking about Japan or whatever. Am I going to be deemed enemy of the state? My information gathered, but not only gathered, but shared by other countries, and eventually find myself unable to travel? Or if I apply for loans, that they're going to be rejected? It's happened before. That's why we have democracies, that we don't have these communist, socialist ideologies that control people's lives. And yet Harper has become this little Napoleonic dictator. He wants everything his way and no other way. He controls his government. He controls his cabinet. He's controlling Canada, and Canadians are just turning over and letting him get away with it. The new world order has arrived, man. We got to stand up. There's 60+% of us that opposed him. Probably more now that he's going to start picking on the seniors, but more than 60% have already opposed him. If we stand united, even a bigger portion of us, it doesn't have to be full 60%, but if we come up against him, against his ministers, everything like that, we take a stand that this democracy, this country is worth fighting for, then we can overthrow this little dictator. We are facing the spring of Canada coming up, and we have to unite before all our freedoms and rights are eroded. And it is a serious matter. Thank you.